Welcome to the Made to Parade podcast, sponsored by the British Drum Company, manufacturers of the Phantom, Regimental Series and Axial Parade drums that look amazing, sound amazing and feel amazing.
Alrighty folks, welcome along to another episode of the Made to Parade podcast. Wee bit different here in terms of my surroundings. You're used to seeing me in the office of the studio with a different background and everything going on, but I'm at home and I'm back to I'm pretty much back to basics kind of setup here. So absolutely delighted to be back with you for another episode in the season. I'm delighted today to be joined by Mark McPhie, and if that name sounds familiar to you, then you'll remember we had Ewan McPhie on a couple of seasons back, and also he was co-hosting on the episode with Stevie McPherson from Drum Chapel. So we're going to be talking about another band based in England. So I'll bring Mark in now and we'll get the conversation going, and sit back, relax and enjoy the conversation here on the Made to Parade podcast. Mark, welcome along. Good to have you.
Hi, Glenn. How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Doing all right. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. All good.
Good. Happy days. Well, listen, Mark, I appreciate you taking the time out to be on the Made to Parade podcast. You answered a distress call whenever we were left hanging in terms of not having the last guest come on. So I really appreciate you doing this at short notice.
That's fine. Like
no worries. Well, listen, Mark, why don't we just get started in terms of the way we normally do on the podcast? Talk to us a wee bit about how you first got involved in a band. Where did that all come from? What sparked your interest?
Well, my interest was sparked off by family. Being in a band is a family tradition, dating back to my granddad, who came from Anderson in Glasgow, and he was a part of the Anderson Flip Band in Glasgow. Would have been the 50s before he come down to Corby in the 60s, with obviously being in the Anderson. He also taught some of the Surrey boys in bygone days, and then the interest from there would have come then between obviously with my granddad and then my dad, and then when my granddad moved to Corby from Glasgow with the steelworks all those years ago, he then started the Purple Star Flip Band. That would have been in the early 60s, I would have thought that would have been in. And that's still going to this day, the Purple Star are now. So it started off in the Purple Star. I can't remember what age it was because I started that young. Started in the Purple Star all them many years ago. When I was a kid, I can't even remember my first band practice.
All right, well, that takes a couple of my questions out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No worries. So you started at an early age then, yeah? And what particular, were you drawn to a particular instrument?
Yeah, well, I think it's similar to what a lot of people on the podcast say. If you've been in a band for a long time, you would generally start from the triangle, then up to the cymbals, then up to the drum, and that's basically where I stayed. The bass drum as well. I played the bass drum as well, but virtually from the triangle, and then I was attracted to the drum. I don't know why. Like I say, I can't even remember sort of learning how to play a drum. I think it just come naturally to me.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I started off in the Purple Star all them many moons ago.
Brilliant. And then what do you remember then about those early days then? I know you were saying you're not too sure about the age and first parade and all that, but what do you remember about those early days then, in terms of being out with the band and any particular memories that kind of stand out for you?
Yeah, there is a lot of memories would be like being in the old Orange Hall in Corby, because band practice would always be on a Friday night. Always be. So me, my mum, my dad, my brother, my sisters would all go to the Orange Hall on a Friday night for band practice. So it was like just a family out. And anyway, every Friday night to go to band practice. And then obviously my granddad would be there, my aunties and uncles, and the whole family would be there really. And then extended members of family as well, because they were all in, at that time, they were all in the Purple Star. That was basically it. And you always play the triangle, and then, like I say, get onto the cymbals and the side drum.
Brilliant. And so, how important was it for you to have the family there? Did that kind of help you stay interested, or was just the interest there from just the family being involved in that type of thing?
It was just a way of life. It was just what happened on a Friday night. You would go to band practice because my mum played the flute, my dad played the flute, my granddad was there conducting the band, because it was very back in those days. The Purple Star were a bit like the Anderson Flute Band. They would play silver flutes. They would play part music on the silver flutes. At a very early stage, they would do that anyway, because it was my granddad's sort of ways. Do you know what I mean? There was a kind of band that they were. They were literally a carbon copy at that time of the Anderson Flute Band.
Right.
It was. Everyone would be there.
Cool. And how did you find out there then as a young boy, then being around that type of part music thing?
It put me in a good stead to what I would go on to after that, because you were learning. Although I was young, it sort of goes into your head. Do you know what I mean? Because other than the Friday night band practice, we would also have a Sunday afternoon where the drummers would go to the Orange Hall, and we were all taught by a man called Bob McDonald, who wasn't actually a drummer in the band. He would just teach the drummers.
Okay.
And he would actually try and teach us how to read drum music at that point as well.
Right.
Which when I got a bit older, I sort of got to read a bit of music. But not that I can remember it now, like.
And so, what was his connection? Was he obviously a friend of your grandfather's then?
A friend of my grandfather's, and he was also in one of the Orange Lodges in Corby at the time as well. So he wasn't in our lodge, but he was in one of the other lodges in Corby as well. So.
All right. And was he like a member of another band? Was he connected to the military or something like that? There,
not that I know of. I can't really remember if he was in a band or whether he was in the military or not, but he knew how to read drum music, and he would try and teach us. Well, try every Sunday to teach us how to read
music. Brilliant. All right. And what was that learning process like? What was he like as a teacher? Did you find that you obviously had a natural affinity for percussion and stuff, but did you find that he added your techniques?
Yeah, he was pretty strict, because he was quite a tall man. You know, he was about 6'7" or something. So he was quite a tall man, softly spoken, but he would be strict a bit, because my granddad, it sort of rubbed off my granddad, because my granddad was very, very strict.
Right.
Very, very strict in the playing. And if you'd done a wrong beat in that Purple Star at them days, you didn't even have to say anything. You just look at you. You just get a certain look, and you know, well, oops, I made a mistake there. But Bob McDonald he was pretty strict, to be fair, yeah.
And how many of these were there on a Sunday night then? Was it all the drummers or just a few?
I wouldn't say it was all the drummers, because most of the drummers in the band, they were all adults, so they all like to drink on a Sunday, didn't they? So there'd only be a few of us there, which was better, because it'd mainly be all the younger ones, to be fair, and learners.
Sure. But, good stuff. And then Friday night seems to be a weird night for a band practice.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's stuck. It's even stuck to this day.
Right.
The Purple Star still practice on a Friday night to this day.
Wow.
They've never changed that in all them years. That their Friday nights is always still the same. But the band I'm in now, we've changed. We used to be Friday nights, then we've been a Sunday. Now we're back to Fridays. It can be quite a horrible night.
Yeah, especially if people are looking to go out and stuff, you know, and it's generally the start of the weekend, you're kind of going band practice out. Although at the minute, going out's not really a big option, is it?
It is, yeah. But we're back to Fridays, and it seems to be the best night, to be quite honest, to get anyone to Bamburgh. And Sunday's pretty difficult to get anyone there in a minute now, but Friday night just seems to be the night where people are going to Bamburgh this year.
Yeah. Well, no, that's cool. But obviously, you've alluded to the fact that at some point along the line, you moved on from the Purple Star. So, how long were you in the Purple Star before you moved into the band that you're with now?
Well, I have quite a bit of a backstory here, because it goes. Obviously, the family connection kept me in the Purple Star for until I was about 17, nearly 18.
Right. Okay.
But during that time, I would join the Army Cadets when I was because my dad used to teach the Army Cadet Band as well as do the Purple Star, and he also played in the 5 Royal Anglian Corps of Drums as well. My dad did. My dad would be out all week doing band stuff, whether it be the Purple Star, the TA, or the Army Cadets. So I would, around the age of 12, I was allowed to join the Army Cadets early because they needed drummers, and I was good on the drums. So I kind of got pushed in by my dad and his friend George. They kind of pushed me into the Army Cadets, where my skill set from the Purple Star would hold me like higher than the other cadets, because they weren't as good. Because I could read a little bit of music, which was the same kind of music that the Army Cadets were playing. They were going along the same line as like military bands, more marches and stuff like that. It was really. I was in the Army Cadets then from when I was 12 right up to the age of 18. Okay. Which then, what happened after that? Yeah, the Army Cadet Band were a very, very good corps of drums. Very, very good. We come up against a few regular Army bands, and we were actually the first Army Cadet Band ever to do a regular Army passing out parade.
Right. Okay. Wow.
I think we'd done it for the Royal Artillery, and we would hold our own against any Army corps of drums. We were that good, and it was a good time in the Army Cadets, to be fair, because you meet people from different towns and villages around Northamptonshire, and we were pretty well known to be we were a good band at the time. And then obviously after the Army Cadets, because you get too old for that, I think in 1997, that's when the Corby Loyalists Flip Band started.
Okay.
In 1997, and I've been founder member of that band, still in it today, the Corby Loyalists.
Okay. And what prompted that move then, if you don't mind talking about that? What prompted you to move away from that?
I have a bit of a story about this one as well, because my granddad was still alive at the time. And what was happening is in Corby there's been the Purple Star, which had been going since my granddad left Glasgow. And then there was another flip band called the Corby Rangers Flip Band.
Right.
Which they were going around the time, like between the Purple Star, the people would leave the Purple Star, go to the Rangers Band, because the Rangers Band were a kick band, and they were more fashionable, and they were going out on the streets. There was all the younger ones, do you know what I mean? Where the Purple Star would be more reserved, playing the melody flutes and things like that. And then there would be another band come along after that. There would be the Pride of Corby Flip Band.
Right.
Which they were more or less the same as a Rangers Band, a kick band, and they'd be all into the kick music. I think some of the Rangers Band actually went to the Pride of Corby. And then I think after the Pride of Corby, there's another band started called the Corby YCV. Right. And they were a kick band. They were a good band at a time. I mean, so were the Pride of Corby and the Rangers Band. But yeah, but it seems to be we got a mixture of them bands sort of folded away. Mm-hmm. Purple Star still kept going, and then a lot of the people that were in all these other bands and the Purple Star come along, and they just wanted a different band in Corby. So that's why in '97, a few friends that I'd made through them other bands and through being in the Purple Star, said, right, you want to start another band. And that's when the Corby Loyalists started. But my granddad, he wasn't best pleased when I had to tell him that I was leaving the Purple Star. He actually fell out of me. He fell at me for about, I think it was about 3 or 4 years. He didn't speak to me or nothing because I'd crossed that dreaded line and shamed the McPhie name sort of thing. I made a point this is with my granddad, because I said to my dad, he ain't going to talk to me. He says, he probably won't talk to you. He says, you've just got to just don't you fall out with him and he'll come round eventually. So every Sunday night, my granddad religiously used to go to the Rangers Club every Sunday night. Right. So I used to go in every Sunday night and place him down a half and a half every Sunday night, even though he wasn't talking to me. And he used to like take the drink, like, but still wouldn't talk to me. Talk to everybody. And he was actually good friends. We had quite a good relationship with the Purple Star. So after about 3 or 4 years, he eventually come round and start talking to me again. It was a bit of a hard one, that one.
No, it can't be. And I suppose whenever, he's obviously he'd have been very much set in his ways and expecting the family just to kind of stick with it. I'm sure that was a hard one for him to take, but I'm sure. Did you talk to him about it at any point, or was it never brought up?
He just started talking to me again. It was never ever brought up until the day he died.
Right.
And
really?
Glenn, I'm not joking you. He sat up the day he died. He was lying in hospital. He sat up to me and he pointed at me, because I used to go around this house and look after him while he was ill. And he sat up and he pointed at me and he said, "Loyalist." And he sat down. That was the last words he ever said to me.
Right. Wow.
He still remembered it till that day.
Oh, wow. Well, at the end, I suppose at the end of the day, you got to follow your heart, haven't you? I mean, at the end, if your heart's not there and you're looking to do something else, there's no point potentially putting up with something that you don't really feel like you can get into anymore.
Yeah. See, when the Loyalist band, when we spoke, because I was drinking with the likes of my friends like Cookie, Charlie, Cokie, a guy called Ian Moyer. We were drinking buddies. We all drank together at the same time, and we just thought, let's start a band. So the excitement kicks in. You think, I've been in that Purple Star since the day I was walking, and you're playing the same tunes. Do you know what I mean? You just think, fed up with this. Especially when I seen another side when I was in the Army Cadets. So you kind of fall away. And I was with the thought of starting up our own band really, really excited me. Do you know what I mean? I was up for it at the time. So I thought, I never left the Purple Star in a bad way. I obviously spoke to my granddad and my dad about it, but they weren't best pleased.
And what was it like then? What was it like at the start of the Corby Loyalists then? Obviously you were talking a bit there about having a lot of excitement, about forming your own band, being able to do your own thing. What were those early days of the first days of that band like?
Do you know what? We took off really big. We were big right at the very start. But I think it was you get hype when a new band starts, don't you? Mm. And we were really big. We even had kids in the band, and there was other people who you wouldn't even expect to still come to the band. And we started off really well, to be honest.
Cool.
We started off really, really well. We were a big band at the time, and people took to us as well. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
especially in a small town like Corby, getting support is hard, really hard to drum up any support in the middle of England where we are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. What about, obviously, I know I've spoken to you in a wee bit about this here, but obviously the scene in regards, you're talking about Corby being a small town, getting support and whatever else. Then where were you parading then? Where was your bread and butter in terms of being out on the street?
Our bread and butter had to be Corby.
Right.
It had to be Corby because you need to be out and about in Corby to be seen. At the time we started, there was 2 strong adult male lodges in Corby. There was the Blacks, and there was two women's lodges and a juvenile lodge.
Okay.
So it was a pretty active scene in Corby, but everybody knew everybody. It was all families and different families. Do you know, just a small community. Like, it was really, at that time, back then, it was a really strong community. It's sort of died away a little bit now, like. But.
Yeah, and what was that down to? Was that down to a lot of people coming from Scotland and settling in Corby that this kind of grew up, or was there something there prior to you guys arriving?
Yeah. See, Corby's attachment with Scotland is very strong, even to this day. I mean, a lot of like people like my granddad and my dad moved from Glasgow, and my mum from Lanarkshire, to follow the work, basically. The steelworks shut up in Glasgow, and then they all come to Corby for work in the early 60s and that. So that's what made the Orange Lodge and the bands start up in Corby, really.
Okay. Yeah.
We still have a connection to Glasgow to this day. Quite strong. Glasgow.
Good stuff. So it's just been part and parcel of the culture that the Scottish family brought with them then.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Good stuff. And how has things progressed then with the Corby Loyalists? What's things like for you today? How's the band doing?
At the minute, we are reasonable. I would say we're healthy. We are healthy at the minute. We struggle. Don't get me wrong. We struggle getting people to band practice and getting people to go away with a band is a struggle because we're small. I mean, we only have 4 side drummers and about 9 or 10 fluters. We have a few kids in the band as well, which is good.
Yeah,
we have a couple of learner drummers, and we struggle, but we get there and a lot of things at the minute is we struggle with the rules with the Orange Lodge in England as well, because they don't really suit bands. Yeah, because that's a whole issue in itself. We could sit here and talk for weeks about the issues we have because we lose quite a lot. I mean, straight away, if we were to go out on the road tomorrow, we lose 3 members straight away.
Right.
And with a small band, you can't really
afford that.
Can't put up with that. You know what I mean? Because the rules are in England that if your debt suspended, if you've left the lodge in good faith, if you're not in the lodge, then you can't work with a band.
Whoa, right, okay. Yeah. So there's an intrinsic link between the Orange and the bands, basically, that if you're not in a band or you've got or not in a lodge, then you really can't be in a band. Is that the long and the short of it?
Yeah, more or less. It does get quite complicated, but yeah, it is. I mean, we've had a good relationship with the Orange all the time the band's been going. Really good relationship with the Orange. We always will have, because a lot of the band members are actually in the Orange. So yeah, I think in my band alone, there's 5 members of my lodge that are in the band. Do you know what I mean? So, although we put up with the rules, you know what I mean, we don't always have to agree with them. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you. Part of me I understand it. I can see it from both angles. You know, obviously, maybe wanting to keep the institution strong, especially if it's small in a particular area. You know, and keeping the bonds linked to that. I think that's great. But I think for my 2 cents, it should be more of a voluntary thing rather than a mandatory thing. You know, because you can tell just from talking to you that that would cheese you off a bit. It's like kind of going automatically. There's 3 guys in our band aren't in a lodge. They're not going to be able to walk for one reason or another. Surely, goodness, that can't be right. Like, you know what I mean? So,
it can be quite hard at times. Like, but I think it all stems from Liverpool, because they have their own. They have quite a strong Orange connection up there. Where in Liverpool, you have like their bands and that they have their own politics up there. So which pretty much, because we're so small down here, we can't really fight them at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To change
it. I know that's got to be difficult, and I take it you have talked about this or at some point, you know, in terms of seeing if there's anything that can be done.
Yeah, we always talk about it. It's always an issue. Do you know what I mean? Because it does annoy you. Like, we lose probably one of our best fluters. One of our best fluters is lost straight away. He's been in the band since day one as well. But it's just one of the things you have to cope with it now. Do you know what I mean? Because if you turn around and say you're not doing orange parades, we'd never be up.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, the life and soul of a band is walking on the road, and if the parades that are available to you are pretty much orange parades, then you've got to take them, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, like I say, we do other parades. We do apprentice boys parades, not so much in Corby, but we do help the London Apprentice Boys Parade out. We try and do that every September. That's a good parade, walking through the centre of London.
Brilliant. You were just recently as well, weren't you?
Yeah. Just September, just gone there, yeah.
Yeah, and I had that too.
It was a good parade, but they took a different route and it ended up being quite a long. We hadn't been out on the road for nearly 2 years, and we had to walk about 2.5 hours or something. It took us quite a lot out of the band, but we got there.
Yeah, 2.5 hour walk if you haven't been on the road for quite a while, it would take it out of you rightly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, see for the likes of me and you, and I mean, already, we're obviously part of the Drum Chapel Protestant Boys as well, so we're quite used to going out on parades all the time. But a lot of the people in our band, they're not quite used to it. So you get sort of a road fitness, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you get used to like a road fitness, and they sort of, half our band don't have that, and they lagged a bit on that parade, to tell you.
Well, even at that, I mean, 2.5 hours walking anywhere, playing an instrument, carrying a flute, playing a drum, it'll tax you a wee bit, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it does, yeah.
Good stuff. As long as it doesn't take the heart out of them, and they enjoyed it,
Nah. A lot of them said, right, we're going to have to start getting fit after this parade. I was like, I think you should. Hopefully they hear it on this anyway.
You should take a leaf out of I know some of the bands over here have got programs that they do. They're called Fit to March. And what they do is that in the close season is that they do either, like exercise challenges and stuff in terms of like step counts and stuff, in terms of, the lead up to the season starting again, and they kind of challenge each other to see who can get the most combined steps in over a period of time and all that kind of stuff. And the idea is just to get the band's members out and walking, around the area, and bit of socialising, a bit of crack outside, and not going. Maybe you've practices on for a bit or whatever, and then they do this, to try and build up that stamina. Might be worthwhile looking into something like that.
Yeah. Imagine we go to band practice and telling the women of our band, I think you should go out and do this. I get lynched.
That's it. The Corby Loyalists branch of Weight Watchers and all that, yeah. So.
Yeah, I could just see them trying to lynch me after telling them that, but I'm here on this now.
Brilliant. And how has the band developed over the years? Then obviously you just started out probably in a Blood and Thunder style, but a couple of the videos that I've seen of you recently, you seem to have introduced some parts and stuff. You have moved away, I think, from using. I remember seeing videos of you. I think you did you do the Brian Robinson one year, and you said high tension drums and stuff like that. So you've moved away. I'm suspecting that Ewan is having a bit of an influence here. Am I right?
Yes, definitely. That was. I mean, Ewan was very much the same as myself. He was very much Purple Star family, ingrained into the Purple Star. He was there since a little tiny boy playing a flute, playing a drum, and the thing was, Ewan, he has to be challenged. Do you know what I mean? Because he's good at what he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's naturally been given this talent from my granddad to my dad. Has been passed on. He's just literally got it. A lot of people say to me, "How do you know he's your son, Mark?" I says, "Because he can play a flute." So he plays a flute exactly like my granddad and my dad. And he got to a stage in the Purple Star where he was going there with my mum, and it was all older women, and he just couldn't take them any further. And I said, "Well, Ewan," I says, "so the only band that you can take forward is going to be the Loyalist band." It was a bit of a strange situation because he was in the Purple Star, but always come to my band practice. It was always, the band always said that Ewan, as long as a Purple Star are fine with it, you could always play with our band. As long as a Purple Star ain't playing, he could come with our band.
Yeah.
So he was sort of an honorary member of the band anyway.
Right. Okay.
But I think it was last year or the year before last. He took the dive and he says, right, I'm leaving the Purple Star because I can't take him anywhere now. He says, well, I want to take the Loyalist band forward. So he literally came out of the Purple Star, walked straight into the band sergeant role in our band, and he's been trying to. It's been, I think, because COVID, it would have been more rapid, but COVID has sort of put a stop to what he has planned for the band, which, in another sense, isn't an easy change either, because we've always been a kick band. We've always been a Blood and Thunder band. Now, Ewan coming in saying, right, I want to play this march and that march. So the lads in our band are like, oh, hold on a minute. We're not used to this. Do you know what I mean? And but he's slowly beginning to bring things in. He's getting our fluters together, which was the massive change we could see at first. He's obviously got rid. Well, we haven't got rid of the high tensions. We still have them, but even I thought that the low tension drums sound better to some of the tunes that we're playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ewan's definitely starting to have an effect.
Oh, that's good. No, because I think I seen a video of you at the parade in London, and you were walking past and you were playing parts, and I was like, well, that sounds really well. And he had sent me a few videos and stuff of you practicing, and saying, "Would you hear this?" I'm trying to get them to play this. I think he'd put parts in the national anthem and a couple of other things as well, and and it's like. It's slowly. You can't just do a massive change straight away. You just got to bring it in bit by bit, because people are so used to doing their other stuff that if you change it completely, you can lose it.
A massive change he brought in was one note that all the fluters were playing. I think it was an E, and they were playing it one way. And he says, that's not the way you play that.
Right.
And all the fluters were like, well, we've played that way since we were young. And he said, well, that's not actually the way you play that. And he got them round. He got them playing a tune, and it had that note in it. And he kept playing it and playing it and playing it over and over again with them. And it was quite funny to watch, really, because you can see them all getting annoyed at it. But it's been hard. It's still hard for them because they've got that many so bad habits. Like it's hard to change them, but they're slowly getting there.
Yeah, no, it is difficult. It is difficult to do that, because you'll have things like where you're saying with maybe fingering a particular note a different way. Muscle memory kind of kicks in because you've been doing it for years and years. And you kind of it can be hard to unlearn and so on, But it's good to hear that you guys are progressing. And I have to say, and this is just me personally, I love it when bands move away from those high tension drums and move to the lower tension drums, purely from a musical perspective. I'm sure that's probably something you and I'll have said is as well. It's about getting a balance, between everything being on that higher register and then really tinny sound on the drums to get a really full sound. So you can have a small band and still sound really, really full.
Loud, yeah. Them drums that we've actually got now, they've actually got a bit of a history to them as well. Them drums, I've been after them drums we've got now. I've been after them drums for about 10 years. They used to belong to a band in Glasgow called the Sons of Ulster.
Yes.
They're a good band. And then they disbanded, and somehow the Purple Star ended up with them drums.
Right, okay.
And I was like, right, I want them drums. We could never, ever get them. And I think we ended up with some drums from Belfast after that, before that, from was it the Young Conway Volunteers?
Oh, yeah, the YC.
After their little walking around in a circle.
Yeah.
They got a bit bad. They got a bit of trouble for that, didn't they? And we ended up with them drums.
Right.
But they weren't in very good condition. So we had to put them aside and get the high tension ones back out again, because that was all we had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So actually, them high tensions we've got at the minute were actually come from the Pride of the Rock.
Oh, right, okay, very good.
So we've got their drums and the Sons of Ulster's drums.
You used to be starting your own museum and stuff,
Yeah.
Brilliant. No, the Sons of Ulster were some band, weren't they?
Oh yeah, I still listen to their CD now. They're brilliant. They were brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant band, absolutely fantastic. Man, it's amazing just how many bands have, folded over the years, that were real quality bands and stuff, and it's sad that they kind of didn't say, but at least with the likes of CDs and tapes and stuff, they've left some stuff behind for people, as you say. Yeah, some of the Sons of Ulster CDs were absolutely fantastic. They had some great arrangements, some great guys who went on to other bands, I know that, and influencing other bands as well. So, in terms of you, Mark, one of the things that we want to talk about in regards to Made to Parade is we talk about the positive aspect of being a member of a band. What would you say are some of the positive things that you've got from being a member of a band?
From being positive things I've got from being a member of a band, the first thing is making lots of friends. I've made some very, very good friends, not out of being in this whole scene that we have, the band scene that we have, not only in England but in Scotland, Glasgow especially, and also in Northern Ireland as well, in Belfast especially. I mean, through being in the Orange Order and the bands, the best man at my wedding comes from Drumchapel.
Right.
Through being in the lodge and the band. Do you know what I mean? And I've made some amazing friends that's still friends to this day from Glasgow and Belfast.
Right.
I mean, I heard your podcast with Stevie, you know what I mean? He hasn't got rid of me since I was 17.
Brilliant. Stevie's some character, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's some guy. He's a good guy.
Brilliant.
I mean, I actually met Stevie through it was actually the Orange Lodge I met Stevie through. They come, and that was again the family connection from Glasgow,
right?
Which come from like my dad's cousins in Drumchapel, but the same history from the Anderson Flip Band, and
sure,
they're still in Drumchapel to this day, and like that's how they actually come down. Their lodge, LOL 179, come down to visit our lodge 58 in Corby. They stayed at Stevie and Big Deco stayed at my uncle's house, and Stevie said to me, "If you're ever up in Glasgow, just come and give my door a knock." I bet he wish he never said that, because I've been knocking his door since I was 17.
Brilliant. Happy days. So friendship is one thing, and you kind of get that camaraderie thing. Lots of people on the podcast talk about that. What other things would you say that you've got from it outside of the friendship side of things?
Well, I think being in a band teaches you discipline as well. And it teaches you right and wrong, really. Discipline, that's what discipline is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You gain a certain discipline through being in a band, from listening to learning, and it sort of teaches you like how to go in life, I think. Do you know what I mean? It's being in a band, discipline and learning, listening, because you've got to listen. If you don't listen in a band, you can't listen anywhere, can you?
Yeah, well, that's it. No, I think it definitely does it, and it gives you some life skills, doesn't it? I mean, for me, one of the big things I always talk about was big communication skills. Being able to talk to a lot of different people, a lot of different age ranges. Being able to bring them on board, or being able to have your say, because that's one of the things that I always remember. Even being a young person back in the Parade Raven, it was like as soon as I became a full blown member of the band, it was like, when it came to meetings, you have a say. You might be 9 years old or 10 years old, but you have a say here. If you have an opinion on what you think about this, you raise your hand, say what it is you want to say. You've got to vote like everybody else. And for me, that was, because you come from environments where maybe that's not, the done thing, because like at home with the parents, you don't get a vote on anything. It was like, you're doing this, And in school, it was very much the same thing. You did what you were told, And while there was that area of, as a young person in a band, there was certain things like, listen, you can't be doing this. You need to be mindful of this. But when it came to things that actually mattered to the band, like making decisions about parades, where you went, the uniforms, do you like this, and being able to give an opinion, I thought that was amazing for me. I'd never really experienced that before. And I know one of the things that I talk about in the book was, bands are known for their banter, members, having a laugh and a joke with each other, and sometimes the slagging that can take place is crazy. But for me, when it went to meetings, it's like everything changed. There was this level of respect. As soon as you went into a meeting, there, the chairman was there, secretary was there. The way people spoke to everybody kind of changed. And I'm looking at these people and going, who have you turned into? You're like, people putting their hands up and Mr. Chairman and waiting for people to finish before they start speaking. And all it was crazy. So it always stands out for me in terms of what I got out of it. So and what about in terms of, does your band do any like community-based stuff? Are you involved in any charity-based things like that? Or are you doing anything to give back, or what's the crack there?
No, I wouldn't say we're involved in any sort of charity, so to speak. Not any chosen charity, like. But when something comes along, like we had one of our honorary members, Jada, he died a few years ago, and he had a charity that his daughter had lost two kids, and we helped her out as well. We gave money for charity there. We helped her out a bit, and just we do help the Lee Rigby Foundation. We do help that as well. We do they have an annual charity football match in a place called Portchester, where a Rangers select team play a Portsmouth select team. So I suppose we do support that every year. Every year we can as well. So yeah, just as and when, really, when we're not any one particular chosen charity, but we do help out when and where we need to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's also linked in with the Legion as well. Have you do stuff with the British Legion, or am I wrong there?
Yeah. Well, we tried to. We actually went. Yeah, there's a bit of a stigma in Corby as far as our loyalist band is concerned, because where do I start with this one? Corby's a very mixed place. It's not so much different to your Glasgow or your Belfast, but in a smaller scale, where you would have people that don't really like us because we have loyalist written on our bass drum. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And they think that we're all mad loyalist paramilitaries running around. Do you know what I mean? Without actually coming to speak to us. You know what I mean? But
sure.
I mean, because that's one fundamental of our band at the minute. We are all loyalists. We all support the loyalist cause in Northern Ireland. We're fiercely British, British. And in England at the minute, that seems to be quite a dying thing at the minute, because with all the politics that's going on in Britain at the minute. But with the Legion, we do try to help out the Legion as much as we possibly can. Especially this year, they never had a Remembrance Day parade in Corby. We were booked to go on it. Because of COVID, they stopped it for some reason. But we did go out to the village that Ewan lives in, just outside Corby, and they absolutely loved us. They couldn't believe that we went out there to do a parade for them.
Excellent.
We also gave them a donation as well. We gave the Corby British Legion a donation as well. So yeah, we do have a bit of a bond with the British Legion.
Yeah, it's been difficult. COVID's been difficult for everybody, hasn't it? It's put strain on all sorts of things. And thankfully it looks like we're going to be. I know things are crazy with it at the minute, but hopefully this is the beginning of the end. I know we've heard that before, but it definitely seems like it now, which means that hopefully things will start going back to the normal again right across the board, which is only a good thing for the band scene, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get back out with the bands again. I think at the minute, we're our first booking. I think we're talking about going to Liverpool soon. So,
I
don't think that's till March time.
All right, okay, going up there March. I thought maybe he's made one heading in May, for the Imperials anniversary parade.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah. But I think, I'm not too sure if we can do that one, but we're talking about in a minute maybe going to the Highfields. They've got their anniversary.
Oh, right, yeah.
We're talking about that in a minute. Nothing booked, but
yeah, good stuff. No, because I'm hoping that our band are going to be at the Imperials parade in May. We're hoping to come over for that. They were talking about that. They will be talking about that at tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, due to me having to isolate here. I'm not able to be
Yeah.
there to find out. I'm sure somebody will WhatsApp me the details and stuff later, but looking forward to that. Be nice the March in Liverpool, the only time that I'm in Liverpool is to go and watch the Reds, you know. So, but there's obviously a large sort of bond scene and in Liverpool, you know, and
we are quite friendly with quite a lot of the Liverpool bands. We have in our past we have gone to Liverpool quite a lot to support, but it's like it becomes being from where we are. It's just the cost. Do you know the cost of getting anywhere? I mean, we went down to London there in September, and it cost nearly £700 just for our bus to get down there.
Right.
And then for a small band, you can't expect people to pay that, like to book us and pay that sort of money.
Yeah.
And then charge our own band members to cover the cost of the bus. So I think if we go to Liverpool, we've even went by minibus before, and that's had its issues as well. But I won't talk about that on here. Ended up with a lengthy spell of community service after that. Well, a bit of an incident up there, but yeah.
Don't worry. You were up in Scotland recently, weren't you? Were you playing for a wee Rangers supporters club thing there recently?
In Scotland.
Or where was that? I remember I seen some videos of you at was it a Rangers supporters club?
I can't remember. Rangers.
These were playing outside. I think, you know, and because I've seen a video.
That was last week. That was one of the Rangers supporters clubs in Corby.
Right, in Corby, right?
Yeah, there's a guy in Corby. He's got a pub in his back garden.
Right.
Which there is quite a few. There's actually 3 or 4 Rangers pubs in people's back gardens in Corby.
Right,
You've got one called the Bear's Den, one called Bar 1690, and another one called Coki's one. What do he call his? He calls his I can't remember what he calls it now. It's actually called CLFB, Cokie and Lorraine's band hall or something. It's called this. Actually, but that one we played at was a local. It was the Sons of the North Ranger Supporters Club. They support our band quite a lot. Always come to our functions. Always giving us donations. So we said that because the Old Firm game was meant to be last Sunday, and they'd asked if we'd go down and play for them, and we said, yeah, well, we can't really say no. That they supported us through thick and thin, so we'll go. And that's what that was, just playing in some guy's back garden.
But I thought whenever I seen the video, I was like, oh, Rangers supporters club, maybe they'll be a wee trip up, you know, because I know you kind of said when we were talking to Stevie that, you know, even a trip up to Scotland is, you know, even for the band is ridiculously expensive, you know. So,
I mean, we have lodges. We have lodges at the minute trying to book us for the big walk in Glasgow this year, but because we lose a few members, and that's such a big parade, you can't go to that parade under strength because we'll just get annihilated.
Yeah,
or look back. Do you know what I mean? But you're talking from a bus from Corby to Glasgow would cost us about £1,800 for the weekend, and it's just you don't want to put that charge onto any lodge or expect anyone to pay that for you. Then you've got hotels, and it's just far too expensive.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing, you know. And I think when you are a smaller band, you know, it becomes a bit of a financial strain and stuff, you know, and you've got to just be careful. It'd be nice to do, but maybe not always.
The Purple Star used to do that Glasgow big walk. I mean, I'm 43 now, and I think I've only missed about 3 or 4 Glasgow big walks since I've been alive, really.
Right,
because the Purple Star used to do White Inch religiously every year. They must have done it for about 15 years on the trot.
Right.
I love the Glasgow big walk. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's. I have to say now. Obviously, I've walked in Scotland a number of times, but it was more in the Lanarkshire direction, you know, in terms of Motherwell. And I always had a great time over there. Was great crack. I don't think I've done the big walk, I have to say. So maybe Stevie will lend me a a drum chapel uniform with some penguins.
Well, you've said that, it'll get you straight in. But actually, yeah, I mean, I've spent at Glasgow Walk, I was actually a member of the William King Memorial as well. Because once
Right.
people stopped going to Glasgow, I started going up with the lodge.
Uh-huh.
And then obviously Stevie said, why don't you just play with a band?
Yeah.
Yeah, may as well. And I ended up joining the William King.
Brilliant.
And then I played with them for must have been about 7 or 8 years. I played with them. And then obviously once the Drum Chapel Protestant boys started, it was mostly all the same lads from the William King.
Right,
So
okay.
Stevie says, oh, you and coming? I says, yeah, of course I am. I've been there ever since.
Great. And they've only been going a number of years though, haven't they? They haven't been going that long.
No, 3 or 4 years, I think, they've been going, yeah.
Yeah,
great bunch of lads.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if Stevie's anything to go by, then I would say that being around with those guys would be some crack. Like, so, you know, be looking forward to seeing them coming over here again. I don't know. Did I remember that they coming over at some point?
As far as I know, at the minute we are doing the 12th.
Right.
At the minute, I'm not sure about that parade in May.
No, the
centenary parade. I've not heard anything yet, but it would be good to do that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because because I was saying with the episode that's coming out on Monday, I think the county are coming over for the centenary parade, and then because I was talking to one of the guys, Thomas McAllister from the White Rock, and I was saying, wouldn't it be amazing? As I said to Stevie as well, like it'd be amazing to see all 4 of those bands, like maybe one after the other, and maybe the idea of a mass band with them, I think would be crazy. You know, it'd be absolutely, it'd be some sight, like, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. I actually know a few lads in Neverton as well. Graham, yeah, it's good. Yeah, they are. I love all 4 of them. We used to actually go to the White Rocks, do on the 11th, no, the 13th. Used to have up the Wee Rangers every year on the Shanks.
Right,
We used to religiously go to that every year as well. But I loved the old style band, you know.
Yeah,
that's one of the things. Well, apart from Stevie and all the mates, and in that's the thing that keeps me going to Drum Chapel, because I just like the little walk you get. You know what I mean? You automatically keep doing it.
No, it is. It's great, and I think it's, you know, one of the things it's great talking to you now is about, you know, it used to be a kind of thing where, you know, guesting with other bands was a real rarity. You know, it was almost like, I remember in my day, it was almost like frowned upon. And I remember I did a sneaky guest with a band once, and I was like hiding in the middle of the ranks and kind of going, if anybody from my band sees me here, I'm not going to be dead. Now the cat's out of the bag now, like, you know, but I think, you know, 30 odd years later, I can live with it. You know, I did a sneaky parade with another band, but it's great that we can kind of, you know, cross-pollinate and, you know, kind of guest with other bands and so on, and not feel, you know, like, oh, it's my band and only my band, you know.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I actually love it, because, do you know, when you're in a small band, the pressure you've got, like organising things, making sure everyone's got all their stuff, making sure everyone's turning up. When I go to play with Drum Chapel, it's like all the pressure's gone. All I do with Drum Chapel is turn up, remember the beats, get my drum, play, and then go. And just be where I've got to be at certain times. All the pressure of running a band just goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nice.
And you're playing different tunes.
No, definitely. And that's one of the things that I was talking with one of my friends the other day. I was trying to get some stories in for the new book. But one of the things I was saying was, I was for a period of time there, about 4 or 5 years, I was the conductor for the Ballincar Defenders. And seeing I just being back to being a standard, just playing member with no pressure, no need to try and organise anything, no, like, tuition's got nothing to do with me, new tunes have got nothing to do with me. Yeah. I love it. I'm loving the fact that I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. I like that's the thing. See, our drummers at the minute, I suppose I've took that strictness from my dad and my granddad with me to the drummers of this band, because I teach the young kids as well. But it's like as soon as they make a mistake, it annoys you. You just give them a look, and that looks to say, look, get your act together, sort of thing. But when you're playing with another band, all that responsibility goes, and it's more enjoyment than anything else.
Yeah, happy days. So what's the plans then for Corby Loyalists for the year ahead? Obviously, you're obviously considering some parades and things like that. What's your hopes and dreams for 2022?
We have a massive year this year because it's our 25th anniversary this year.
Right.
So we're actually at the minute organising our own band parade in Corby.
Right. Okay.
On the 8th of April. Any band that wants to come over to Corby is more than welcome to come. We've already got Drum Chapel, surprise, are already confirmed coming. We have ourselves are out, Drum Chapel, Pride of North from Liverpool, and the Corby Purple Star at the minute. And we're actually holding our do in a hotel in Corby because we're doing it a bit different because it's our 25th anniversary. We're going a bit upmarket. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if any bands anywhere are wanting a trip away for the weekend, we'd more than they'd be more than welcome to come to Corby, and we'll look after them. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. Well, what I'll do is, Mark, maybe what I'll do is I'll put maybe a wee note in the sort of the program notes on this here, and if people want to get in touch with you, they can either obviously use does Corby Loyalists have a Facebook page?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so guys, if you are interested in getting over and supporting the bands in England, I know I don't want to speak on Mark's behalf, but I know having spoken to you and spoken to Ewan quite extensively over the last year and stuff, that support from bands in Northern Ireland would be greatly appreciated. In terms of maybe making a trip over there and showing your support for people who are upholding the culture. In an area where maybe it's not that welcome, and we know all about that. But it'd be great for us. We talk a lot about Hands Across the Sea. It would be nice for us to maybe do something over there. So, folks, if you are interested in getting over and praying in an English town, get in touch with Mark and the Corby Loyalists and see if you can't get your band over and support these guys. So, Mark, maybe just in finishing off, if you were kind of explaining the band scene to someone, this is the question we always use. If you were trying to explain the band scene to someone, what would you tell them?
The band scene, I would say nowadays, now the band scene's a big family, isn't it now? I mean, like you're saying, there you meet people that you would never normally ever meet from Scotland, from Northern Ireland. I mean, we've even met some Welsh people along the way, and the band scenes nowadays it's not so. I wouldn't say it's not so competitive, but it's more together, if you know what I mean. I think everyone understands now that we're all we're all of the same people, aren't we? Rather than being in total competition all the time. Do you know what I mean? Although that competitiveness is still there, we are all of one mind, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Upholding our British way of life, and that's all we are. We're not anything other than that. We're musicians.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're proud of what we stand for, and we're proud of what we do and the way we do it. And nothing more or less than that, are we?
Yeah, no, that's completely it. And I think it's one of the things that rated the very first episode of the podcast I talked about. First and foremost, we're musicians. You know what I mean? And it's about music for me, and about making a particular style of music. And, and for me, music really shouldn't offend anybody, to be honest with you, regardless. And I'm all up for having conversations with people and facilitating understanding, which is another reason why the podcast exists, is to say, well, listen, you may not feel comfortable coming up and talking to people initially, but here's conversations around, people who are involved in the band scene. Hopefully this gives you an insight into what it is that we do and why we exist and everything, So, Mark, listen, thank you very much for taking the time out to be with us on Made the Parade. I really appreciate it. I absolutely love having the broadest scope of people on, having people from Belfast, right across Northern Ireland, Scotland, and featuring the bands from England as well, because I think that's another element of keeping that brotherhood, that camaraderie, that sense of family, is that we're all part of this that's seen the Galamits. I really appreciate you taking the time out to share your story, and again, it's such short notice, so thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries, thank you. Good to speak to you, Glenn.
Well, there you go, folks. Another conversation with another band member from England, and absolutely great to hear about Mark's story and where he's kind of come from, how he got involved with bands, and how that's still very much a part of his life today. And just to reiterate the point there around the parade that the Corby Loyalists are having, if you're interested in getting your band over there and, you know, finding somewhere different to walk, then why not give that a go and get in touch with the band and see what you can do to support them. It'd be great to do that. And I know if I can get over and maybe do something for the podcast, that would be fantastic as well. So, folks, we are really very, very close to the end of season 5. There may be a couple of surprise episodes that have kind of kept quiet until now. That's really just because they've just only come to light in the last couple of days, as they don't. But we are going to be looking for people for season 6. So if you are out there, you're listening to Me at the Parade, and you'd like to have your band featured on the podcast, then please do get in touch with me, either via the Me at the Parade Facebook page or email me on meattheparadebook@gmail.com, and let's get a conversation about getting your band onto season number 6 and share some more positive stories from the band scene. All right, so folks, if you haven't done it already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search for Me at the Parade, give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit the notification bells so that you never miss a video from us, and look forward to producing more content for you as we go ahead as well. And also, hopefully, we'll be starting our monthly streams by the end of this month, and that will be done in conjunction with Pictures on Parade as well. So until the next episode, folks, look after yourselves and take it easy.
You have been listening to the Made to Parade podcast, sponsored by the British Drum Company, where Phantom, Regimental Series and Axial Parade drums are hand-built in the UK to look amazing, sound amazing and feel amazing.